My name's Dave DeBow, founder of MoneyPartnerFormula.com, and this show is built for everyday real estate investors who are actively doing deals and looking to scale using other people's money. So if you're an active real estate investor and you want to get featured on this show to talk about your own real estate and capital raising experiences, then just go to daveinterviewsyou.com. Now let's get rolling with this episode, and remember to subscribe for daily interview content. Welcome back, folks. Have you ever been interested in the creative side of real estate investing? Well, if so, today's special guest, zooming in from beautiful Kansas City, Missouri, is Layne Anderson. And Layne works with a company called Avenue Investing. And they help people who are in bad situations get out of their houses. So they do the I buy houses kind of business, but they also can work very, very creatively. It's not all about low ball offers. So Layne, welcome to the show. Great to have you.
Absolutely. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, can you give us a snapshot overview picture of what your business, what Avenue Investing is all about? What do you guys do?
Yeah, for sure. So we do everything real estate related under the sun. That's kind of the long-term goal, is to be that one-stop shop for any of your real estate needs, whether it's trying to get into investing, trying to sell your home, trying to buy a new home, whatever the case may be. We want to be a resource to anybody we can be. But for the most part, right now, we're really focused on fix and flipping single family residentials, as well as trying to build out our own portfolio of single family buy and holds. And then we're kind of recently have been working into multifamily and commercial and things like that. But then on the back end of things where I sit, we're also doing some wholesaling for any of those deals that we can't take down, which is kind of opposite of what the intention was when we first started. We want to be very disposition wholesale focused. And then I think kind of just realizing the power of our network, we were able to kind of, switch the script and capitalize on some of those deals and really, get the full value out of them. And then, doing a lot of creative finance throughout that as well. I know most of the multifamily commercial deals that we're taking down are creative finance, and then single families are obviously a little bit easier to get some funding for. So we can buy those cash if we need to.
Cool. So what kind of volume of properties are you guys doing, or volume of deals are you guys doing?
Yeah, so it started, we had 1 month where I believe we got 12 wholesale deals done. And then Avenue was just founded in January of this year. So we're only 7 months or 8 months old now. So yeah, we started buying in March, and now we're working our way to owning $5 million worth of assets. But right now we're taking down anything from like 4 to 6 properties a month, and then wholesaling anywhere from probably realistically like 6 to 8 a month. And then that's with Avenue. I also do dispositions for a couple different businesses. One's Ballpoint Property Solutions, and then just a few other, we have wholesalers send us deals. We'll have other businesses that maybe don't have that disposition branch of their business built out yet. They'll send us deals. And so we're able to kind of outsource and freelance and pick up business and grow our network that way as
Oh, you're a
well.
busy guy. So explain to me, if you don't mind, like I'm not a real estate investor, and just to kind of explain to me, what does disposition mean to you? What does
Yeah,
that actually look like?
for sure. This is a question I get a lot too, just because most people don't realize that there really is two different sides of the transaction, especially wholesaling. So think about it as there's an A side and a B side, right? So you're on the A side, that's your acquisition. So that's how it's easy to remember. This is all the marketing, trying to get the property under contract, trying to get the current owner of the property to sell their property to me. Once we have that contract, then, obviously you have to do title search and things like that, begin escrow, whatever. But then my position is being on the back end, and then I'm direct to investor finding a buyer for that wholesale property. And
So
sometimes if
basically,
we
disposition's a fancy way of saying selling.
absolutely, yeah. The one thing that you can get caught up with in that though is we don't technically sell the houses because they are under contract and not owned, but there is instances
Right,
where
because you don't want to get in trouble, there. I know, because I've been in that business myself, nowhere near the volume you guys are doing, but you have to tread a careful line
right,
without, so you don't get in trouble with realtors for stepping on their toes, kind of thing. So yeah,
absolutely.
you've got an equitable interest in the property, and you're doing the disposition of that property. Got it.
Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I mean, on the back end of things too, like sometimes if we can't get a deal dispo, then I'm raising capital for the deal so that we can buy it. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, I'm really just taking time to get to know my investors, sit down, have lunch, coffee, whatever the case may be, just really figuring out, what types of deals are you looking for? What areas, even getting as granular as like what zip codes are you buying in, exit strategies, there's, I could go on for days of all the information that my vetting process kind of is meant to pull. And I
Yeah.
think that's probably where some people see that Dispo is maybe it's interesting because some people will have, they do it all by themselves, and so they're
Yeah.
kind of just doing that spray and pray method, whether that's putting it on investor lift, listing it on Facebook Marketplace, which we do sometimes as well. But for the most part, I see a lot of success in, the contacts that I've had lunch with, had dinner with, figured out really, hey, I can just text you this deal. And so sorry, I was getting a call. But I've kind of realized, you can just kind of get to know somebody. Where did you go? Am I still on? Awesome. Okay,
Yep. You're
sorry.
still here.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, no, but then in those situations, I can kind of just, send you my deal rather than having to go through my whole marketing process just because I took a little bit of preliminary time to figure out.
That's smart.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. And that was kind of a little that method slash approach, if you will, was kind of given to me by one of my mentors, which works for Ballpoint Property Solutions. They've helped me a lot in the early stages of my career as well as Avenue trying to figure out the more acquisitions and investing side of things. So not necessarily wanting to put a whole lot of their time into Dispo, which that's all I do all day. So for them, it was kind of you know I guess an easy choice. We also share an
Yeah.
office space with them and help a lot with their networking event that they host and things like that. So yeah.
So Layne, for people that are watching or listening to this and they're thinking, hey, this young guy knows a lot about getting rid of these properties, what would be some good tips you would give people? Let's say it is that one man, one gal
Yeah.
army that they can't quite they don't have the volume, they can't quite afford to hire somebody on. What
Yeah,
tips would you give them besides just posting on Facebook Marketplace and online classified type places
for
for
sure.
getting
Yeah.
better at dispositions?
Well, I think that's probably the biggest misconception I would see right now is people tend to think because we have the internet and because we have all these online softwares that that's the best way to go, which as we kind of just broke down, for me, that hasn't always been the case. And so I would say right now, my best piece of advice for people in that situation would just be rather than relying on something like Facebook, go out to a networking event, go on Facebook and join a networking group or an investors group rather than just throwing it on Marketplace. Like I said, take the time to really figure out what are investors looking for in the area, because if you're running your numbers at 65% of ARV, but nobody's buying anything above 60% ARV in that neighborhood, you now have no deal, right? And so it's
Mhm.
your job as disposition, or if you're the wholesaler just in that position, to understand not only where my numbers need to be up front, obviously, but it's also where can I actually get an investor to buy this on the back end. So I would say, like, if you're just getting started out, when I first started, I was just I'm in 500 some different Facebook groups now, just because anytime I had a new deal come in, we're all over the US as well, but anytime I had a new deal come in, I would go join that state or that market's groups and go in and say, hey, I have a 3-2 1,200 square foot that I'm looking to get sold. Who would be interested? And then those guys are commenting, and then I'm reaching out to each of them, getting them on the phone, going through my vetting process to really figure out, specifically what does that look like. And so if you're
Mhm.
trying to do, I would say, wholesaling and volume as an individual, dispositions is probably, I mean, you kind of want to almost work it backwards, right? You really want to know, can I get this moved on the back end? And that's not to say go find one buyer, find their ideal deal, and then just only hunt for that on the
Yeah.
acquisition side. But at the same time, that's a little bit safer route than, doing the opposite and trying to just hope that there's somebody on the back end. So,
Which I think
um,
most people probably do, don't they? Like,
yes, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, because that's how it was for me when I got started. I had no clue what was going on. The first deal I ever wholesaled was actually a subject to deal up in this little town called Woodland, Washington. It's about 6,000 people up there. And so it was super, super by chance that we got it sold. But I've definitely noticed, especially now that, we're about 8 months deep into me working with everybody, it's easier on the deals that you have already seen before. If I have I have a property that's a full gut over in the hood in Kansas City, I know exactly who, my 3 or 4 first people I'm going to send it to are. And it
Yeah.
also gives you an idea of, I've seen this deal before. I know what I sold it at. So if you sold it here and your contract's here, I can tell you real quick that that's not a deal and it's not going to get moved.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, I would say just get to know the people you're working with. That's the great thing about Dispo that I love is I'm 100% in control of the people that I'm sending my deals to, the people that I'm asking for capital for, et cetera. It's very much just based off of, who do you work with the best? Because the person you connect with is not going to be the person that I connect with the most.
Mhm.
And, you really want to be able to utilize your personality, utilize those relationships, utilize your network.
Yeah, well said. So Layne, what are your plans for the next 12 to 24 months? Where do you guys see the company going?
Yeah. So within the next 12 to 24 months, I mean, I think life's definitely going to change quite a bit. I'm getting ready to move into an apartment up here downtown Kansas City, finally getting out of my parents' house. So I think my goal is to really just, I mean, keep locking in, you know what I mean? I think now it's just kind of going to allow me more time to be able to work, be closer to my people, be closer to my job, my projects, whatever. And so, I mean, my biggest goal is just, I love traveling. And since we do so many out of state deals, my biggest thing is to be able to, we're working on building out a team under me. We haven't really started that out yet, but the goal is basically to take Dispositions and grow out a whole separate business from it that still falls under that Avenue Solutions umbrella, if you will. And so I think my main focus would be in the next 12 to 24 months to get to a point where I'm comfortable leaving Kansas City to go to a new market to go build my buyers list out that way. So for me, I would just say like building a team and then really getting those systems and processes concrete within the business.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Well, hey, I can tell you guys are movers and shakers. You're doing great stuff. I wish you all the best in the future. And if people want to connect with you, Layne, and find out more, where can they go? What should they do?
Yeah, so I'm pretty much all over the place, but I'm most active on Instagram and Facebook. So I mean, just my name. I'm Layne Anderson official on Instagram, and then just Layne Anderson on Facebook. I'm slowly transitioning to doing more content on like YouTube and stuff like that. But for now, I would say those would be the best 2 ways to reach me. That or send me an email. Otherwise, I would say I don't get my mobile phone
I think
number.
that's
Yeah.
enough. I think that's enough contact information. All right. So
Yeah.
Instagram's choice number one, Facebook's choice number two.
For sure, for sure.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for sharing some insights into dispositions.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for your time.
All right, everybody, take care, and we'll see you on the next episode. Hey there, I really hope you enjoyed that episode. And as always, if you want to listen to more daily interview content, make sure you subscribe. And if you're an active real estate investor and you're doing deals and you'd like to get featured on this show, then just head over to daveinterviewyou.com. Now at moneypartnerformula.com, we help real estate investors to create a process for predictably getting capital so they can do more deals without relying on hard money lenders or the banks. We do this by building them a private capital marketing system. Now, if you want help turning yourself into a big money capital attraction machine, then book a call with our team to see how we can help. Just visit moneypartnerformula.com to find out more. All right, take care, and we'll see you on the next interview.